The VA frequently denies disability claims for a condition in one knee that's been argued as secondary to one in the opposite knee. And is there a way to show that one knee condition can cause arthritis in the other knee? My name's Dr. David Geyer, triple board certified orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, and anti-aging and regenerative medicine expert. I help veterans by writing nexus letters that argue that your orthopedic injuries are connected to your military training and service so you can get the compensation you deserve. This is yet another video in my series of videos in which I answer questions about service connection that I get from military veterans across the country. And this video is about a pet peeve of mine, and you're about to hear about it. I try not to rant, but this is going to be one of those that I do. Question is this: I filed a disability claim for my left knee osteoarthritis caused by a right knee injury I suffered. The VA denied the claim, saying I would need a clinically obvious Trendelenburg gait or length discrepancy of more than 5 centimeters. Do you agree with their opinion? All right, this is one that just irritates me to no end. And I tell veterans this, that if you ask 100 orthopedic surgeons, can a left knee injury cause a right knee arthritis, for instance, or whatever the degenerative condition is, 99 out of 100 orthopedic surgeons are going to say yes. They've seen hundreds of them in their careers. I would bet if you asked the VA orthopedic surgeons and somehow got them to answer truthfully with no bias, they would say that's true too. It's just that these C&P examiners who typically have no orthopedic background, they're using boilerplate language saying there's not a link, and I completely disagree. So let me explain it. To argue the disability claim for left knee arthritis secondary to a service-connected right knee injury, despite the denial, the not having the clinically obvious Trendelenburg gait, the leg length discrepancy greater than 5 centimeters, you're going to want to do, like you do with all secondary service connections, a nexus through medical precedent and legal precedents. Basically, there is VA regulation, as we've talked about before. If a secondary condition is proximally due to or aggravated by the primary service-connected disability, you don't need to have a specific gait or limb length discrepancy threshold as an absolute criteria. You just don't. The denial basically comes from a C&P examiner's opinion. They use boilerplate language because I've seen that same argument word for word 50 times easily. I've read thousands of denial letters because well over 90% of the veterans who reach out to me have been denied for conditions before. So I've read thousands of denial letters. I've seen this same boilerplate language 50 to 100 times probably, even if it's about a claim that I'm not even involved in. But I just read it as part of another rating decision letter. But I see this a lot. And it basically is boilerplate language saying, basically, there's no way that one knee can cause the other except in rare exceptions involving an exaggerated Trendelenburg gait, which is this weird gait where you drop your hip, or if there's a severe leg length discrepancy. But this is under no circumstances a universal requirement, a medical requirement, a legal requirement. There is tons of data that show that very subtle biomechanical alterations, very subtle gaits, subtle shifts in forces can cause contralateral opposite side osteoarthritis. And there are Board of Veterans Appeals, I'm already getting worked up. Board of Veterans Appeals decisions that have ruled this way in favor of the veteran. But you need a strong nexus letter from an independent orthopedic surgeon. That is key. You want to be able to argue that the right knee injury led to altered weight bearing, altered loading patterns, increasing stress on the left knee over time, even if the gait abnormality is not significantly visible, even without a major leg length discrepancy. There are studies, and there's so many studies that it's not worth talking about them all here, but that a knee injury on one side elevates the risk for knee arthritis in the opposite knee as much as 3 to 6 times, again, due to the increased joint loading just with daily activities. Contralateral knee experiences significantly altered dynamic forces, leading to cartilage degeneration, and you don't need significant asymmetry in gait or leg length discrepancy or muscle atrophy or nerve damage like these C&P examiners seem to say. The doctor writing your nexus letter would point to these studies, listing all these studies, explaining them, talking about your medical history, talking about the imaging, x-rays or MRIs, talking about your treatment records, and arguing aggravation beyond a reasonable doubt. the key is that those criteria that are laid out, that's just overly restrictive, and it's just not consistent with the scientific literature. There is plenty of study showing those biomechanical alterations, the subtle shifts in knee moments and muscle forces, and where the stress lands can absolutely lead to osteoarthritis in the opposite knee, independent of that Trendelenburg gait or leg length discrepancy. And again, the BVA, the Board of Veterans Appeals, there are precedents, there are numerous cases showing that they've granted service connection for arthritis in one knee that develops secondary to arthritis or an injury in the opposite knee without the leg length discrepancy or without a Trendelenburg gait. You may need, in addition to that really good argued nexus letter, lay evidence and buddy statements showing how the one injury led to issues with your other side, and you were putting more weight on the other side, and you were having symptoms like swelling and pain and instability. Any of that can be helpful, but there is definitely a precedent. And I think, and even going to whoever's the orthopedic surgeon that's going to write your nexus letter and having him or her do a DBQ to demonstrate all the abnormalities, whether that's a gait, whether that's muscle atrophy, change in range of motion of the primary side, showing how it affected the other side, can be very, very helpful. But again, that argument is very narrow, and I think it's not consistent with the scientific literature that's out there. And so I think that is one that is very likely to win, but you need somebody that knows the science and can argue in your behalf or on your behalf. Okay, I've written an entire ebook on the disability claims process. It's called The 8 Most Common Reasons the VA Denies Service Connection for Disability Claims and How You Can Beat Them. Just click the link in the description below this video. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Click the bell to be notified when I release a new video and when I start my monthly Veteran Nexus Letter live shows. If you're interested in a Nexus letter for your injury or condition, you can click that same link in the description below this video. Scroll down after you get the free ebook. Scroll down. You can learn more about working with me and working with my team. We try to make the process quick. We try to make it simple. And I try really hard to write a strong Nexus letter or strong DBQ that gives you the best chance of success in your claim. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to working with you.